I do believe that we are live now. Dun,
Live.
dun, 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 dun. Yeah. Okay, that one says going live in 2 minutes. Uh, dun, 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 dun. Yep, here we are. All right. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Today,
Happy Friday.
yeah.
Anyone else feel like this week has just been, or just me?
Uh,
I was literally run over by a bus.
my week was pretty Oh, so everyone, just to know, Betsy is becoming a bus driver.
Yeah, I'm going to do some rotation for the school district.
Now that her kids are all growing up and occupied outside of the house, um, she's going. She might be driving some of the students here locally, some of your children to school. She's doing it part time right now, right?
Yeah,
Or
substitute.
substitute. So if they need a bus driver, Betsy will show up and drive your kids to school and hopefully make it a fun experience for the kids. Maybe decorate the bus in Halloween for Halloween.
Yeah.
That's my thing. I would show up dressed like the Bigfoot.
It would be every day a different costume.
Yes, that would.
But it's a lot this week. It has been non-stop. Go, 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 go. So,
Yeah. So Betsy's went and got like her CDL.
yeah.
So she's got a man. I'm impressed. I am way impressed. And
Good times, good times.
my week was pretty good, pretty mellow.
I'm hoping next week it's a little more mellow for me.
Yeah, I hope.
But
so too.
as Halloween ramps up, I've got birthday this next week. It's probably not going to be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Grace is fitting to.
She's 12 going on
Yeah.
22.
Oh man,
She's got the funniest sense of
such
humor.
such a smart girl.
She cracks me up.
But yeah, but anyway, so today we are going to chat about. We're
Some
just gonna
spooky stuff.
just a Halloween leadoff chat. We're gonna. Betsy went and dug around for each state's kind of nominal scary story.
Yeah, these are considered kind of the spookiest stories from each state, or the most, iconic urban legends from each state.
Hmm.
It's interesting because they're very culturally driven.
Really,
Yes. Yeah,
we'll
like
have to do a serial killer or nominal killer from each state.
yeah, serial killers are a whole. They're a whole mood because they.
Well, we did Magnata.
Yeah,
I showered like twice a day for a week after that.
Luca.
And the creepy part and why do we do this is the thing that bugged me the most was him killing the kittens.
Yeah.
Even though he killed a human being.
Yeah, because they feel so vulnerable.
And I think that's it. That's
Yeah.
probably it. It's probably the I mean, kittens are second cutest animal on the planet. I mean,
That's true.
puppies are
That's
the
true.
cutest. And it's the big eyes and the big heads but anyways, so but yeah, we're going to kind of go into that. We got some news and we just want to kick off October fun and kind of say happy
Nothing
happy
real
October.
heavy. Yeah.
Happy Halloween. I did go to a ghost hunt last weekend with Hidden Realms, and it was. Gary says, "Remember you as Dracula." Yeah, I used to be Dracula. I think most boys tended to end up with one costume when they're kids, but yeah,
Yeah.
I remember being a Dracula quite often when I was in my youth. I do have some funny Halloween costume stories, but I don't want to call out my friends just yet. But let's say ninja in pantyhose with tidy whities on. Everyone, picture that. You could see him right through it. Yeah, that was a fun one. But anyways, the ghost hunt was fun. Heard some stuff on the EMP. No visual sighting. Well, some people had a visual and a feeling as they went up to. It was at the Benson Grist Mill. But I want to thank the the group of Hidden Realms for inviting me along to that and letting me come. I did have to leave early, so there may have been something that happened afterwards, but I had to go hunting the next morning, so I had to leave early. But other than that, it was a good time. It was a good time. So, without any more ado and me prattling on, let's get. Are we going alphabetical?
Yeah, we're going to start with Alabama.
Alabama.
Alabama. So, Alabama has quite a few really large rivers. So it's no surprise that one of their most iconic ghost stories surrounds the Tombigbee River. So, it comes from 1858. February 28th, the what is it? The Eliza Battle. That was the name of the boat. The Eliza Battle.
The boat's name was Eliza Battle.
Yes.
Okay.
Departs Columbus for Mobile, Alabama, and after stopping at river landings, she steamed south carrying about 60 passengers, 1,400 bales of cotton, and a crew of about 45. So if we think back to Alabama then and Alabama now, a lot of their commerce is moved by water.
Mm-hmm.
So the captain, Graham Stone, was one of the most beloved and respected steamboat captains. And as it proceeded down this river, the river had been recently flooded with heavy rains. The temperature dropped 40 degrees within 2 hours. There was thunder and hailstorms, followed by a sleet storm, and ice formed wherever water splashed onto the boat, and large icicles hung from the boat's side. So this was an extremely cold night, carrying...
It was like a flash freezing.
Yes.
Because
carrying lots
Alabama
of
isn't known
passengers.
for freezing.
No, but it is so humid
Yeah.
that any temperature drop freezes the air that's
I'll
held
bet.
in
Yeah,
the,
I'll bet
or
it
the
drops
water that's
down
held
into
in the air.
20s or the teens. I'll bet it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll bet it gets. Oh.
So about 40 miles down the river, the Eliza Battle caught fire. The fire was probably from sparks from the smokestacks, because this was a steamer. And Captain Stone ordered the crew and male passengers to save the women and children first.
Mm-hmm.
The steamer's lifeboat were both at the stern and were quickly enveloped by flames. So
the lifeboats.
the lifeboats were burnt up.
So you're stuck on that frozen. Oh.
So most accounts list 33 as the number of people who perished, and the disaster was extensively covered by newspapers from New York to New Zealand. This was like a really big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it is said that on this very spot, on the river, that you can hear the wailing of the passengers.
Oh.
That perhaps because this disaster was so profound that their souls have been trapped in that very spot. And so people visit it often, kind of like the water babies. And they sit and listen for the wailing of the passengers as they're flailing around in the water.
What if their souls aren't trapped, but what if that memory in time is trapped?
What if it's the residual energy?
Yeah,
I often think about people's energy. What if what you're hearing is that residual energy, and there's so much of it? But it was said that after the boat pretty much was engulfed in flames, people just started leaping off the sides into the freezing water.
Yeah, what's your choice?
And because
did anybody survive?
Very few people survived. Some made it to shore and just had to watch as you can't get back in the water. You're frozen. Your core body temperature has dropped. You've lost the ability to swim and function. Your adrenaline's run out. So the bystanders that made it to shore had to watch as women and children drown and just listen to them scream for help. So they say that is Alabama's spookiest place.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, that would be a whole thing.
That'd be way freaky.
Then we go to Alaska.
Oh, Alaska. I'm sure that.
Now, Alaska it's interesting how spooky stories are shaped by culture. But as the 49th state of the United States, Alaska is often described by locals as being 30 years behind the contiguous United States, with the days of pioneers and people taking so long to actually settle up there.
Actually,
it is such a wild place still.
That 30 years behind sounds pretty good right now, because I think
it does.
I think the 90s was my favorite year that we've ever had.
Yeah.
Everyone seemed to get along. There was great comedy. The movies were good and over the top and ridiculous. That just seems like, I don't know. If I had to pick a time, I'm down.
Yeah.
So, Alaska, here I come.
So the gold rush, the Klondike gold rush in particular, kind of shaped the people that moved to Alaska and kind of their course as they made it to Alaska. You have to, still to this day, but even, I mean, far more so back then, you had to be rough to make it in Alaska. So their story is called Scary Mary, and her story begins with a gold rush expedition. So Mary came to Skagway, Alaska, as a young woman already engaged to a prospector that went by the name of Klondike Ike. Of course he did.
Klondike from Skag.
She checked into the Golden North Hotel, where she and Ike stayed, and while there, they became engaged and were set to start their future together. Now, Klondike Ike set off over 500 miles to the goldfields with high hopes that he would win them their fortune. And this was so common back then. They would take off for months and months at a time to go look for gold. Mary waited for Ike to return to her. She locked herself in the room the couple had rented, lost in the abyss of worry for her lover. When the housekeepers of Golden North finally broke down the door with concern, they discovered Mary in the wedding dress, and she was dead, waiting for Ike to return to her.
So how long did she stay locked in the room to die?
Well, here's what they figure. It was said that Mary ended up coming down with a fatal case of pneumonia while waiting for Ike in room 23. Nobody really thought to kick the door in until someone with the wait staff noticed that no food had been going up there. That, you know, she had basically stopped eating. So, when they hadn't seen her for several days, they started checking up on her. And to this day, they say her apparition appears as a pale figure wearing a wedding dress and is seen looking through the hotel windows waiting for her lover to return.
Would you rent room 23?
I don't know if I would.
Yeah, it's a big no for me. I'd rent the white van that parked out front and listen.
Yeah, I don't know if I would.
Oh.
That's kind of a scary thought, because first of all, why is she in her wedding dress? Do you think maybe that she caught pneumonia and she was like, "Yeah, man, I am really sick. I want to wear this one time." Do you think maybe she knew she was going to die? And then can you imagine being the guest services? You're like, yeah, 23, man.
Now, what
is
year
she
was
still
this
in there?
again?
This would have been during...
I mean, during the gold rush in
gold
Alaska,
rush.
2003. So, I'm just kidding. But anyway, so, I mean, they think she died of pneumonia.
Yes.
I mean, she probably felt sick, but... God, she's stuck
So
up
this
in
would
Alaska.
the gold rush began in 1896.
Okay,
So this would have been...
She's stuck there anyway, so she just put on her wedding dress probably for heat. I mean, a wedding dress back then was full gown. I mean...
Heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know.
All right. I do want to cover some news real quick. So in China, China is kind of breaking new ground on the world with their technology, or maybe I shouldn't say it, but their copying of technology. So on October 6th, I'm going to put this on screen for those of you watching, for those of you listening. I will just have to explain it. And this is from what I understand. So up there you see all these lights on the screen, and that's a building, and this is drones are falling from the sky, and they're not falling like meteorite falling. It's almost like they're on a fast return to home. They're not very big drones, maybe half-pound or 1-pound drones, but they're all falling. What it sounds like is there was 2 drone companies that tried to get a bid for whatever this bid was. So I am going to read the story now. But they tried to get this bid, and drone light show in Hainan, China. Dozens of drones fell from the sky, creating a stunning apocalyptic scene. Shortly after the crowd gathered to watch the light show, the drones began falling, sending viewers scattering to find color. And I guess this is a big thing that's been going on lately, is drone shows.
Yeah, I watched a pretty
Well, they had one, I guess, at Burning Man this year. That was
intensive
impressive.
drone show.
But yeah, the drones go up and give a light show. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like a fireworks display, but done with drones. Drones are getting cheap enough. But what it sounds like happened, initially the organizers of the light show blamed for a rival drone company for the error of claiming the company created ill-intentioned signal interference to sabotage the light show. However, later the shopping complex that hosted the light show told local police it may have been due to operational errors. But the initial reporting was that, they put out, let's put on a drone show. 2 drone companies bid for it. One wins it. And they're saying the other one came in and threw up like RF interrupters or something like that, and
to
made the
mess up
drones
show.
made the drones idle to home. Or maybe it was operational error. But these drone light shows, but could you imagine being there and all the drones just start falling? That's Matrix. That
Yeah,
right there.
I think I would have run too.
Well, not just because they're falling, but you're like,
What is happening?
yeah, what's the end of the world thing that's happening? But all our stories tonight are from China.
Oh,
That's it.
China.
China is kicking Florida man's butt right now. And Florida man had better step up to the plate, because they are going to they're going to lose their, I don't know what you call it, prestige.
So, 1970s, 3 men robbed a bank near Flagstaff. Now, the hotel where one of the men was shot during their escape from the bank, they went there to lie low and celebrate their successful robbery.
This is in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Yes,
In
so-
what year? 1990?
1970.
1970.
So this is a little later on down the timeline.
Yeah.
But again, we're talking the Wild West. People don't realize that Arizona was the Wild West.
Was it the Wild West in the 70s too?
Oh, yes.
In 1970 it was?
Yeah.
Well, okay. A lot of people might argue it's still the Wild
It's
West.
still the Wild West. So the trio stopped at the Monta Vista Lounge for a drink. However, the wounded man's gunshot injury was obviously more serious than any of them thought. He couldn't even finish his drink. He died right there in the lounge. So, today, staff and guests feel as if this dead bandit is one of the many spirits that haunt the building. One manager reported that he would hear an eerie voice that said hello or good morning when he opened the bar each day. Others have told stories of feeling a ghostly presence sitting at the bar while they're enjoying a drink. Now,
That's a hell of a regular.
yeah, thought this might be the ghost of the gunman. The hotel has such a past of shootings, cowboys on horseback in the lobby, and drunken brawls. They're not really sure which gunman. Could be any of them.
You need to have a seance. You need to go down there and hold hands and light a candle and And,
yes, a seance. Oh.
All right. So after Arizona is
We've got Arkansas.
Arkansas.
And this is the McCollum Chittister House.
Ooh. You know what really is scary about Arkansas? We need to do a show on. And this will be that conspiracy show. Or the boys on the tracks.
Okay, what?
Well, I can't tell you now. It's going to be a conspiracy. I could probably tell you most of the story off my head. But go ahead.
So this house was built for Peter McCollum in 1847. It's now a museum. It features some of the original furnishings which were brought up the Mississippi by steamboat from New Orleans. During the Red River campaign of the Civil War, the home was first occupied by Confederate General Sterling Price. Bullet holes and damage by cannon fire can still be seen in the home. And they say that this home has haunting lights and large like thump sounds and lots of like eerie moaning.
Mm.
That would be scary.
Mm.
Then we've got California. So this story, they call it the White Lady of Stowe Lake. I don't like White Lady of anything. Because it's just scary. So this is about a beautiful young woman who lived in the city with her child. One day the woman decided to take her baby to Golden Gate Park for a jaunt around Stowe Lake. While on their walk, the woman spotted a friend and the two sat down at a bench to catch up. After a few minutes, the woman turned to check on her baby. To her horror, the baby was gone. In a panic, she ran around the lake screaming for her child, the last anyone saw of her alive.
The last anyone saw of the lady?
The lady alive. Her friend reported that she was running around the lake screaming for her children. So
you think she just maybe went mad and ran off,
or the person who stole her
committed
child
suicide?
got her. They
Oh.
never found her body. So this is kind of your classic haunting ghost story. The White Lady of Stowe Lake, they say, can still be seen today running around the lake, and she'll stop and scream at you for her child.
Could you imagine if a ghost dressed in white came up, got face to face with you, and just screamed?
Yeah. And they say that it's so disturbing that the locals tell their children, you cannot go down to Stowe Lake.
Don't go.
You can't go to Stowe Lake by yourself.
Or, maybe ever.
Because the children come back and report the White Lady of Stowe Lake screamed at them.
Oh, man.
That would be terrifying. But that's kind of your classic ghost story.
I got Colorado. Hey, man, I lost a bag the other day. Terrifying.
Yeah, Colorado. It doesn't have to do with weed, but it's the Buffalo Rose Saloon. Or maybe it does. So this is in Golden, Colorado, and this bar's history dates back 150 years.
I love the town of Golden. It's kind of a neat
It
little
is.
town.
So this one, let me see if I can get the name of it. What do they call her?
Like Buffalo Bills or some.
Buffalo Rose.
Buffalo Rose.
Yes. So Buffalo Rose is said to have worked there. She was an accountant.
if you're going to a lady of ill repute who has Buffalo in her name, you've reached the outer limits of civilization.
But now they say that throughout the day and night, people who visit see her out of the corners of their eyes walking up and down the hallways.
I want to know what she looked like if they give her the name Buffalo.
Buffalo anything.
I want to know, was she like 6'5", 525? I mean, did she look like any NFL team would be throwing offers at her? All right, quick story real quick. Okay, so I think it was during the Battle of Antietam. This is Civil War. The Battle of Shiloh. It's a bloody battle. At night, soldiers in the trenches on either side would report seeing the dead or the wounded out in the field glowing.
Ooh.
And these wounded tended to heal quicker. So they always called it the angel's glow. I mean, this is ancient, like, they always figured it was a ghost, but they called it angel's glow. So these soldiers would have a buddy or a platoon mate out in the field, laying on the ground, wounded, and they would see this bluish glow coming off of them.
Ooh, I don't like that.
We've discovered what it was.
Oh no.
Okay. One of the enduring mysteries of the American Civil War was a little-known phenomenon referred to at the time as angel's glow. The glow seen on some soldiers' wounds after the Battle of Shiloh. Doctors at the time noted that soldiers whose wounds had this strange glow, this emission of light, seemed to fare much better than soldiers whose wounds did not. They healed faster. They had a higher survivability rate. It freaked them out. And we have figured out why. The Battle of Shiloh was one of the bloodiest of the Civil War. Union forces led by Ulysses S. Grant, Shiloh, Tennessee, to prepare to an attack into Mississippi. Okay, we don't need to go into it. He went up against Johnston. Over 20,000 casualties between the two sides.
Dang.
And this,
Think
I think,
about
was
that.
a 3-day battle. I mean,
Think about that.
losing that many guys in 2 or 3 days is crazy. But we don't need to go through it. Let's talk about what it is. A 17-year-old high school student,
Of course.
Bill Martin, went to the battleground of Shiloh and learned of the so-called angel's glow as a part of a school science project. He and his mom, who is a microbiologist, Phyllis Martin, and friend Jonathan Curtis, they wanted to investigate, and they started to look into types of bacteria that glow in the dark. Then they cross-referenced these with historical records to determine if any of those same bacteria may have been present at Shiloh. Turns out there was indeed a bioluminescent bacterium for which Shiloh was quite hospitable thanks to the presence of, I don't know why I get stuck reading all these nematodes.
Nematodes.
Thank you. Which are parasitic worms that burrow into the blood vessels of larvae. Inside these nematodes is a bacteria called Photohabitus luminescence.
Photohabitus luminescence.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I don't know why.
So this was what was glowing?
Yes. So this larvae and bacteria would go in and fight off infection and bad bacteria.
Kind of like when they put
but it glowed in the dark.
when they put maggots on.
Yeah, kind of, but this one was smaller, and I mean, maggots are a time-tested method for
Wound control.
control in the field, though they can get out of hand. I mean,
Yeah. One is out of hand, as far as I'm concerned. 100%.
I've heard of stories of guys getting treated with maggots for like superficial neck wounds. The next thing you know, they're removing maggots from their eye sockets and stuff.
I can't even
From
think.
behind their eyes.
Oh.
So they're flushing their eyes to make the maggots come
Yeah,
out.
no thank you, I'll die.
Are you done talking about it?
I'll die.
Or I've heard of infected teeth doing that. Infected teeth where it decays that.
Oh.
Maggots come in and then maggots crawl out the nose and the sinuses.
God,
How you feeling, Betsy? You hungry? So for lunch today, I was thinking.
God.
But anyways, no, this is really interesting. This high school student, granted, he had some pretty impressive help from his microbiologist mother, but he took this upon himself and discovered an almost 200-year-old.
And they have a faint green glow because I think when you first hear these stories, they seem esoteric.
It does. They figured this one out. They boiled this down to the actual science.
That's cool.
This is impressive. The angel's glow. I suggest you guys check it out. I wish we'd had some pictures of that. Granted, pictures back then you had to hold still for like 3.5 days.
They were black and white.
yeah, but that is an awesome story. All right, Betsy, back at it.
Connecticut. Okay, our shores, specifically in Connecticut, are extremely rocky. So as the mariners were learning to navigate, and we utilized it heavily to move commerce and people, they built these lighthouses. Well, a lot of lighthouses had to be built on these little islands or outcroppings of rock that were away from the mainland. So December 22nd, 1916, head lighthouse keeper Frederick Jordan left to row ashore to spend the holiday with his family. A gigantic gust of wind is reported to have capsized his boat, and they were unable to rescue him. Now, since then, the lighthouse, as with many lighthouses, now that we have navigation, lighthouses are mostly memorial. They're mostly museums.
They're beautiful. People like to put them on the backs of their toilets.
Yeah, it's
a
a thing.
Hold on. Do you think that's how ladies guide themselves in the dark to fall in the toilet seat if their husband hasn't put it down?
Well, if they have a light on the actual lighthouse they have on the back of their toilet, it would be helpful.
I think women put it there as it's a charm.
Yes,
It's a charm to find your way to the toilet and pray that the husband put the seat down so that you don't take a bath.
So, since then, even though the lighthouse is closed, there have been many reports that the logbook that is now just there for visitors to come and see and kind of a museum piece is left open on the day of his death all the time. And it doesn't matter. The keepers change it.
So if you close it on the day of his death, he comes through and opens it up.
Well, and you have to understand the way that lighthouse keepers worked. One, they were required to be married. So
Really?
Oh, yes. Because it was such a lonesome job, and they often needed a partner there to help them. You know, these bulbs, they had strict requirements for these bulb changes had to be done on a timely manner, in a timely manner, and that logbook had to be precise. Oh. So it's always reported to be open to that. And
so you think he's rowing out to go home. He's rowing along. He's like, oh, crap, I forgot. And he starts turning real hard. Flip the boat.
Capsized. So when they decommission a lighthouse, unless the state makes it a historical marker, the light goes out. So in spite of this lighthouse having no bulb in it, there continues to be every year reports of wayward mariners being led to shore by that light.
So he's still doing his dang job.
That's right.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's impressive. We've got a lot of comments about the maggot thing.
I'm sorry, Kendra.
If you start,
I try to rein him in. It's disgusting.
if you start getting gangrenous, or if you Kendra, they treated horses a lot with that. Horses that had bad wounds. You don't want the gangrenous to spread into the muscles and go necrotic, I believe is the word. So allowing maggots to do their business is a means of control until you can get to further aid. And that's if you got to go, you can go necrotic in a couple, probably 12 hours.
Disgusting.
Everyone's enjoying this story.
Let me die.
We could go into some further.
I couldn't look at a wound with maggots.
Is when you see them coming out of the corners of the eyes.
No, let me die.
Or imagine if your tooth gets rotten and they start coming out your nose. Just you gotta carry a napkin to wipe one away every few minutes.
Moving on to Delaware. So the Woodburn Mansion. This place would be terrifying. Now, the Woodburn Mansion, prior to being the governor's house, was home to many members of Delaware's elite class. And to this day, people see slave raiders hanging in the trees.
Slave raiders, like slavers?
Yes.
People,
hanging in the trees.
I don't know. I'm good with that.
No, but can you imagine looking out and seeing someone hanging in the trees?
But if they were slavers,
Yeah, okay. But
you know.
still. Kendra, yes, I know. It's lunchtime. I tried to remind him of that.
And for your next weight loss program, listen to my other talk.
God.
I don't know. I mean, I could probably go for what sounds good right now. I could anything with some spicy jalapeno in it. I think right now I'm feeling some spice today.
Some spice. Oh,
Yeah.
I saw someone take a shot of Fireball with jalapeno juice,
Oh, really?
and he said it was delicious.
I'll bet it was delightful. Well, the jalapeno juice would
So
probably be a
gross.
pickling, right?
Yeah, so gross. So
I wonder
gross.
how that'd go. I mean, Fireball, it's, I have friends who really love it. Yeah.
Ugh. So we're gonna skip to Hawaii. There's a couple.
We're not going to do Florida?
Florida has quite a few,
Yeah.
but most of them are
Are
centered
still
around.
alive and sitting in county jail right
Yeah.
now. I mean, it changes by the day, really, really.
And Georgia, much like most places in the South, it's an old governor's manor and
Mm.
haunted by its previous residents. But Pearl Harbor in Honolulu
Oh, yeah.
marks the resting place of 1,102 of the 1,177 sailors killed by Japanese attack.
Mm-hmm. You got the Arizona, I think it's Arizona, Utah was struck real hard there. I'm trying to remember all the names of the ships that were struck, but the Arizona's a big one where they were trapped inside of it.
So when people visit Pearl Harbor, water faucets turn themselves on, radio stations switch, heavy doors swing back and forth, and it's common for the islanders to just say that, it's just Charlie.
Huh.
They all know it. They're like, yeah, that's just
That
Charlie.
is wild.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Idaho, a little closer to
Mr.
home.
Potato Head running around. They've
I
got
have actually
Potato Chucky.
I have actually visited this place. The state penitentiary in Idaho
Uh-huh.
began in 1870 as a one-cell house and grew. It's a huge complex that you can go tour. It's got a giant sandstone wall around it instead of fencing. It's got like a sandstone wall that's like 6 foot thick.
Really?
Yeah. Now, this wall was built by stones mined by prisoners from the nearby rock quarries. And the inhumane conditions that were suffered in this prison are horrific.
Really?
Horrific. To this day, you can see hobbles where if you got out of line, they would put your leg between your legs. They would spread them apart and put your ankles in these holes, and they would break both your ankles and hobble you. And they did it to hundreds of prisoners.
Man.
And it is also said Raymond Allen Snowden was known as Idaho's Jack the Ripper, and he was executed, the last execution done in that prison, and it said that is who haunts the building.
What would you have to do to get hobbled?
Anything.
Escape all the time?
No, if you miss church.
They would hobble you for missing church?
They have like 7 big open areas that have benches, pews in them, and you were required to worship.
Jesus. That's insane.
The chow room, if you didn't eat your chow, you would be hobbled.
Good hell.
Yeah.
Did people get healed from these hobblings, or?
I think eventually, but they're never the same.
I can't imagine.
The guy who did our tour said that, some people actually made it out of the prison. It wasn't common. They did a ton of executions there. There's one big main execution building, and he said it was day and night.
That reminds me of that Parks and Rec when that guy from Venezuela comes to visit. Playing music too loud? Go to jail. Playing
to jail.
music too quiet? Go to jail.
Yes.
Charging too much for a haircut? Go to jail.
So, just outside of Burlington, we are now in Iowa, At a cliff that dominates the evening sky, a woman named Lucinda waited for her husband. Now, her cart, at the time, this was a long time ago, was broken and delayed, but Lucinda thought he'd run away with another woman, and she, in despair, hurled herself from the cliff. Ladies, let's not do that.
How do you show a man you love them?
So,
Is it cooking a beautiful dinner? No.
throw yourself from a cliff.
Offering them children? Nope.
Now, she haunts that spot to this day, and the local legend is, say her name 3 times and she may appear. If she lays a rose at your feet, you'll die terribly within 2 days.
Why would you go there to...
To say her name? I don't know, but they do.
Oh, all right. Another story. So, China again, folks. China is making all the robots now. All of them. They are doing the competition with Boston Dynamics.
Those are terrifying.
They're selling dog robots.
Why would you want a dog robot?
What if you want a pet?
That is not a pet.
It's called the Quadruped Robot A1, and you can buy these. Unitree is the company that makes them, the A1 walking robot. It costs under $10,000 US, and you can have a robot as a pet. And they've got videos. You can go watch them of them doing the agility tests with them. There's videos of guys jogging with their pet robot dogs. There's also a video where you can see... I don't know if this is a setup. I watched it the other day, and I didn't want to play it on this, but it looks like some kids are driving along in a car, and the robot is cursing at them, the robot dog. It can kind of run sideways, and it's looking at them with its little robot dog eyes.
No.
And it's calling them dirty words and yelling at them and telling them to get away and F off. And that was freaky. China is also making a combat version. The Boston Dynamics name is Atlas. We don't have the name for the Chinese one, but China is making one, and you can watch videos of it going through its trials. It can fire a gun. It has the agility and everything else. Now, we all watched the Russia one, which has been... some people say was faked or whatever, like the Bosstown Dynamics. Remember when we watched that? Where but China is said to be working on an official one. Okay. I want to run through the A1's capabilities.
It's not a dog. That is not a dog.
What if
that
they put
is a...
What if they put an antenna on its tail and it had it waggle?
No.
Okay, you ready? Jumping, turning, and running. It can run up to 11.2 kilometers per hour, 7 kilometers per hour faster than Spot. So it can jog along the average. So you could outrun this until you're tired.
Yeah, for a period of time. For me, that's a half a block.
That's down my driveway. Video recording and live transmission. You can assign it to follow people. It recognizes gestures.
Your dumbass robot dog follows me, and I'm going to get a concealed carry weapon.
Map production. And it can carry 5 kilograms, or about 9 point, or would that be? No, that would be about 10.5 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
So it can carry about 10 pounds. Has a powerful motor, flexible mobility. And you can drop it and it'll usually land on its feet and absorb the fall. And if you pick it up to carry it, it like folds its legs up.
Oh my gosh.
So it's a little compact thing, so you can drop it in a backpack.
Nope.
How long before they've got like a gun or a taser on this thing?
Yeah. Not long at all.
I mean, it is
How it can carry how much?
10.5 pounds.
Okay, so what's the average weapon size? Weight.
The average weapon weight, like what are you talking? Like you could honestly put a
Rocket.
a rocket. Oh yeah, it could carry like an AT4, a single shot rocket. But
That's
I mean,
what I'm saying.
a taser. Imagine that, or just a shocker. Or what about those strobe lights and the radar beam or whatever that makes you puke and pee yourself? The brown note dogs.
Yes.
Cut the brown note dogs loose. Nobody's coming out of their home again. It weighs 12 kilograms. So it weighs about 12 kilograms would be about 26 pounds, I think. Something like that. Look, it's kind of cute, though, when you look at it. It's growing on me. You know, I don't want it to actually grow on me, but it's, you know, it's
I don't
growing
want
on
to
me.
see one in real life.
But yeah, they're making these robots.
Oh, they look like
You can-
spiders.
They've got little links so you can put a leash on them. There's a picture here that looks like two robot dogs are they're having a robot dog fight.
You need to teach your robot dog some
But
manners.
it can map. I mean, this could do. Let's say, okay, future. Let's say that your kid wanted to walk to school. We talked about that a minute ago. You could have this. It's assigned to follow your child.
No.
And unlike a regular dog, it would go into the classroom and sit down, and it would be done. It wouldn't move. Where a regular dog has to eat, water, you know, use the bathroom. This dog could just follow your kid around and be its, you know, like just a camera that follows your kid.
It's not a dog.
No, it is not a dog, and it scares the shit out of me because this is how we become batteries.
Oh my god. This is exactly how we become batteries.
I've seen the documentary, that future show that Baron Trump brought back to us, The Matrix. I've seen it.
Yes, yes.
Actually, I think we're already in it, and this is where we are. But, yeah, the robot dogs are here. All right, Betsy, let's go on. Let's knock out...
I want to do Louisiana and then Utah.
Okay, Louisiana, Utah.
I want you to pull up this picture.
Well, hold on. We still got Oregon and
Yeah.
so let's do a brief rundown of all of them. Let's hold Utah for next time. And then I want to have a little chat.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Myrtle's plantation. Slave labor was a huge thing in these plantations. And there is a little girl. Here's the picture, if Jared wants to pull it up and show you viewers.
What's her name?
They call her Chloe.
Okay.
But this picture was a photo that was taken by a teacher and some of her students on the courtyard at Myrtle's plantation. Now, it was taken with a pretty up-to-date camera. It's a Sony CyberShot. Now, this picture is...
There's a lot of pictures of this
Go to-
Chloe.
Go up. Myrtle's up. Right. Nope. Down. Down. Right there. Nope. To the right with the blue shutters.
Oh, sweet Jeebus.
Do you see her in the window?
Okay. Oh, yeah. I didn't get the chills at all from looking at that.
So they see her all over, and it's so prolific that they took a picture for their website, and she's in the picture next to the house.
She looks like a pissed off doll.
But she
Like,
looks
straight up.
like period clothing.
Uh-huh.
She's got a little round face, so she's definitely young, really soft
And she's
features.
not
It's
giggling.
definitely female.
She's not singing 1, 2, Freddie's coming for you. No, she's singing I'm coming for you.
And she's got her hair tied up in like a bonnet or a bandana.
Or a bun.
Yeah.
Something. She's got the moss part down the kind of side-ish.
And she is seen so often around the plantation that most pictures show up with her somewhere in it.
Yeah.
There's lots of pictures of her.
Oh, yeah.
She's in the windows.
Yeah, if you look up Myrtle's plantation.
Look at her right next to, in between the houses.
Yeah. Someone is punking them or they are haunted.
And this teacher reported that she took this picture and didn't even realize until she downloaded it onto her computer. Look, oh my
That
goodness.
one, it's kind of see-through-ish.
Yes, and she's kind of see-through-ish in this window.
She is see-through-ish.
You can see the curtains behind her.
She's a texture on the window.
Yeah.
She's just a texture in time and space.
Yeah. And they've had lots of ghost hunts out there, lots of psychics out there, and every one of them say, well, she's definitely here. She doesn't really communicate much, but she's definitely here. Pretty creepy. I don't know what I would do if I took this picture, got home, put it on my computer, and saw that in the window. I mean, honestly. Shit's crazy.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Shit is crazy.
All right, so we just did, which one did we just do?
So I'm going to do one more.
One more.
We're going to end it with Maine because this one's crazy. All right. Now, this is the story of the Goat Man. It is said that the Goat Man...
We have a goat lady around here. Did you know that?
Yes.
We've got to do that story one day. But some people get mad if you talk about it locally.
I know.
I wonder why that is.
Because they don't want the goat lady bothered. Because somebody lives on that property.
Oh.
And if you talk about the goat lady, then it brings up the old...
Then people start
and
cruising
then people,
over there?
especially this month, people start going up to where the goat lady is, and they start bothering the current residents of that property.
Really?
Yes.
So someone... See, I don't know the goat story. I just heard of it, but no one's ever told me the story.
Yeah, we'll do a whole story on the goat lady.
Okay. We'll
give no specifics.
We'll do it
on
in
where
December,
it's at.
so only the hardest of people will go out and trudge through the snow.
Yeah, there you go. So this is the Goat Man. He is said to have killed more than 15 people. He has the torso of a man with the legs and feet of a goat. His eyes glow red, and he carries an axe. I want to know how you carry an axe. I have seen goat feet.
But he's got he's got torso man hands.
So does he have 4 legs and man hands?
Okay. No, he's got the bottom legs of a goat, but
does he walk upright?
The torso of a man. No, here's my question. Goats obviously lay down nanny berries, right? And they don't have to wipe. Now he's a man. Now, does he have to wipe? And is it different when you're wiping a goat bum? Does the tail get in the way?
Well, the tail kind of flicks back and forth.
Do you have to get down underneath and wipe out and get the whole bottom of the tail?
Do you wipe back to front?
Well, no, that is never acceptable.
But the tail gets in the way. So if you wipe front to back, then you wipe it up the tail.
Then you got to wipe out the tail.
You got to
and maybe brush
swipe
it out. That's the question. I mean,
I never wiped my goats.
Now, if anyone's ever owned a male goat, you know how disgusting those critters are. Does he do that? Does he musk himself, I guess you would say. I don't know what it is, but how they do
now,
it is...
Here's what they say. You'll know the goat man's near, and you need to disappear when you smell his unpleasant smell. So he
does musk. Goats are disgusting. The smelliest... I had a goat live at my house for a day, a male goat. You could smell it a block away, and that smell hung out for months, like made my backyard unbearable. I felt bad for my neighbors, and then a neighbor down the street said, "Hey, I got it. I let it come hang out there to eat weeds. It wasn't worth it." And then a neighbor of mine said he wanted to
take the weeds,
right? He had one of them, real long lots where like the back 40, that was too much for him to go way back there, like all the way back. Too much for him, no. Mm-hmm.
Now, this is like a conspiracy theory because it is said that Goat Man is a byproduct of a science experiment gone wrong when Dr. Scott Fletcher was experimenting on goats at the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center.
So he like sewed a goat and a kid together, pissed it off.
Set it loose
You
to
could
raise
write a
itself.
whole movie about that.
Dude, that'd be a great movie.
Goat kid gets a hold of they've got that new scary one that coming out like with the sheep. Looks like a mind bender. Yeah.
See?
It's like a half human, half sheep. It's got some funny, like if you just watch a commercial with an open mind, don't take it a scary story. It looks like the husband cheated on the wife in the Wyoming way. And and he had a baby sheep person, but the mother takes the farm lady mom takes the baby and the sheep get mad about it. I don't know what it's about. But anyways. Yeah.
So all ghost stories are about unresolved trauma. Like Goat Man may just be pissed off that he's Goat Man.
He may be pissed off because he's pissed on.
It
By
could
himself.
be by himself.
He's pissed on. Goats are disgusting. And you watch them, they will pee on themselves. Like pee up over and onto their back and like shake it in. And it makes this greasy. Oh, it's like, yeah. Anyways, let's read through some comments real quick.
Oh, Goat Man.
All right. Now, can you open up your Facebook and see? All right. So we got a pukey face. I imagine that would have been about the maggots.
That's the maggots. There was lots of comments about the
maggots were a big hit, like Kendra says. Yeah. There went my lunch appetite. Thanks, Jared. You're welcome.
Hi, James.
Hi, James. Ryan. Hi, Gary. Yeah. Okay. Nobody liked the maggot stuff. Apparently, maggots are an unpopular subject. Coming out of your eyes and nose.
They're so gross. I don't care where they are. They're gross.
Yeah, I concur. Now, Laura says, I would try it. What do you reckon that was about? The pictures?
Maybe the going to visit Myrtle.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't mind visiting her from a white van down the street.
No.
Betsy carrying a camera.
Although she doesn't seem to bother anyone. She's just present. Like, they took insurance photos.
Like when we talked to...
And she was in the photo.
When we talked to Jennifer and Mary, they pick up ghosts and take them home.
That's insane.
I said no. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
No.
I'm not going to do it.
I would get a robot dog before I would take a ghost home. I would.
That'd be a tough question.
Yeah.
Would I want to bring the ghost in my house or the people killer in the house?
Oh, she would try calling the lady by name.
You would? And see if a rose shows up? You bold individual.
No. Laura, I wouldn't let you. I wouldn't let you. I would stop you. I would cover your mouth.
White van.
Of course I would be there, so I would cover your mouth.
Yeah.
No.
I would be in the white van.
Have you ever done that?
You'd hear
Red rum in the mirror?
You'd hear the window crack.
Or Bloody Mary in the mirror?
No, don't do it. And then the window go right back up.
Jared would not personally stop you, but I would stop you.
Well, I would stop you. I'd say, no.
Come back.
You just hear a window go down, an echo come up the valley, the window go back up.
Did you ever do the Bloody Mary in the mirror?
Yeah, and Candyman and...
You did?
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you do the name?
I was a kid then.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I've never done any of those, and I still wouldn't as an adult.
I was a kid then.
I did
I was
one
young
time
and dumb.
catch Grace say it one time in the mirror, and then she scared herself so bad she left.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right. Now for the big talk.
The gross stuff.
I'm not trying to go political right now, even though we commonly do. But everyone saw that whistleblower come out. What's your thoughts on that?
Initial thought was, of course. I mean, this is not a surprise. It's not, this big... Facebook uses deceptive measures to get emotional responses from the people because emotional responses
CNN
drive...
does the exact same thing.
All of them do. So
the death
it is
ticker on CNN, MSNBC, Fox, that was all emotional drivers.
It is no surprise. So the thought behind that thought was, this is so that they can put in more control. The whistleblower is working for the government so that the government can say, we knew it, and put more censorship and more control on the information that is shared on social media platforms.
I know I talk about the Gutenberg press all the time on everywhere I talk because I think that this is the most correlating time to that. The Gutenberg press came out, and the first thing they printed was a Bible. Back then, the Bibles came only in Latin, and so if you were in a non-Romance language area, you couldn't understand any of it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So Germany was the big one. So they printed the Bible in the German language up there, and that's when you had the Catholic Church fall apart. Because the Catholic Church kind of lost control over the masses.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because a new communication technique came out. And I think that's what we're going through right now.
Yeah.
I think this is the grasp that the media is going crazy. Shane Smith made a comment once. He said, the media as we know it is going to die, and it's going to be a bloodbath. And I think we're seeing that bloodbath where the media companies seem to be fighting each other. And think back to your childhood. Were they fighting each other then?
Mm-mm.
Did ABC talk bad
They didn't
or
say anything about another network.
they didn't care? You know, you kind of picked it on whose voice you liked. They all kind of gave this the same message. And that's because it was controlled. They had lockdown. But the internet has expanded it. Just like with this COVID thing, people are looking up their own information. For right or wrong, they're not going through the gatekeepers. And I think the government's digging for that. So I think, yes, we're going to see more controls going. They want to have a correlated internet experience for the user so that the user doesn't get any untoward thoughts.
And I think on a deeper level, everyone needs to...
I think they're going to lose.
Well, and I think everyone needs to recognize what you're being fed. Because, for instance...
But we're not being fed anymore. Now we're searching our own.
But
That's
no,
what they're trying to do.
They're actually feeding it to you
Well,
as part of this. As part of the whistleblower testimony,
nobody
it
believes
was...
it.
No, but not about COVID, but about more personal items. For instance, if you're out searching for suicide helpline, Facebook's algorithm is going to send you posts about suicide. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
If you're out searching for weight loss, Facebook's algorithm is going to send you posts of super skinny model types. So we need to recognize that the view of the world is not an actual view of the world. It is a view that is being fed to us through their desire to drive emotion.
No, this is different than... She brings up that Facebook stuff. I think they're trying to drive something different. They're trying to change Section 230.
Yeah.
I think what they're looking at doing is making it so they're making it so that Facebook can... Or not just Facebook, so anyone. So your Google search engine, so all that. So when we like look up alien abduction stories, those stories have to be filtered through a central control or a ministry
gate
of the truth, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where they're trying to head. And what they need to know is they will lose. Email lists already exist, and those can only be expanded and correlated.
And other platforms
And
will step up.
even beyond that, well, I think when they do 230, they want to eliminate other platforms.
They might.
That's the grab. You're still going to get the sales thing. We're going through a revolution of marketing and sales, and that's one of the big fights. And I think that's where we see a lot of this information come out. So however you feel about all that, but and I'm not even saying they're wrong. They're just doing what the Catholic Church did when they went after Gutenberg and Martin Luther. We are seeing they're going to fight, And I think we're seeing the beginnings of a modern day civil war. I've said it before. I think every time a new form of communication comes out, a civil war quickly follows. It just seems to be historically, correct. The Civil War isn't always about, or it's never about the same thing, but I think the communication and the ability to spread messages causes an awakening, an enlightenment, if you will. You had the Gutenberg Press in the 30 Years' War. You had the telegraph in the United States Civil War. That's where people in the North could say, look, this slavery deal or this other thing, they could build an enlightenment where people in the South were arguing their own enlightenment, which caused the division. And we're seeing a division caused now. And it's kind of being perpetrated by the media and the government. They seem to be trying to separate us, and it'd be nice to fight it. Don't know if we can. We'd have to go through it. Whatever. But, man, I think we need to watch out for. They're going to start proposing new controls. And I don't care how you feel about it. Please support kind of freedom and the ability to be weird.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You want the weird out there. You don't want to shut it down. I mean, when you run it underground, I'd rather have the weird out in the open.
Me too.
Anyways, but yeah, another comment. Laura, thanks for coming to my back. Laura showed up good for Jared today.
They still use leeches at burn centers.
They still use the leeches. Imagine the doctor.
Leeches are gross,
Imagine
but
the doctor.
not as gross as maggots.
The doctor turns to the nurse. Bring on the leeches. They come out with a little shoe box and set it down.
What's gross
And
is
you
they
hear-
bring them out in glass vials.
You hear them in there crawling around and sliding.
And they use a long pair of tweezers, and you get to watch them
Put
set
it
the
on you.
live No, hell no.
Oh.
Sedate my ass.
I've had leeches on me before. They're not bad.
Yeah.
They're kind of fun if you got salt close by. But it's another story for another time. Okay. So I think next weekend we've got
An interview.
an interview coming up with a hauntee, and then we'll finish off the state stuff. We're trying to go nice and gentle October, but we're gonna try to finish out October with the bang if we can. Of course, it is the deer hunt for old Jared.
That's
so
true.
If I get a deer
I hope
earlier
it-
on that day, Betsy will be doing a show by herself.
That's right.
But yeah,
As you'd field dress a deer and process it.
yeah, we could just watch that. People could like.
That's real Halloween.
Yeah, but anyways, thanks for joining us. Hope that everyone had fun with the show. If you got any scary stories you want us to dig in on or talk about,
If you've ever
let
seen
us
the
know.
Goat Man.
yeah, or if you want to come on and talk about it, man, we love having people
We'd
tell
love
us
to
their
hear from
stories.
you.
Yeah. All right, you guys have a good
Have
week,
a great week.
and we'll talk to you soon.